let's move on past the Olympics now. I mean, obviously you competed in two. You can talk a little bit about whether you tried for the London Games in 2012 or not. But obviously you've given us a good indication that you're not the kind of guy that when you're done competing, you're going to sit behind a desk. You take on many challenges. So talk to us about that transition from Olympic athlete to maybe just competitive runner, and then some of the things you've been doing since then with running.
So the first thing I did sort of as I transitioned to racing a lot less elite races was create a brand. I still did it while I was competing as an elite athlete. So I created an apparel brand called Reckless Running. Mm-hmm. Folks can see it at recklessrunning.com.
Right.
And there was a very specific point because in the 2004 Olympics, I passed around a petition for the athletes to be able to wear any logo they want on their uniforms. At the Olympics, you can only wear Nike branded stuff. They have a special agreement with the Olympic Committee.
Interesting.
So you can't even promote your own, sponsor there.
Right.
What you could do is wear your racing spikes. And so people could see that you had Adidas or other branded shoes on. Now, the problem is that Nike created a super shoe where athletes, if you're not wearing that, you're at a disadvantage. So Nike actually had to make a blank version of that shoe for their competitor athletes to wear for the fair advantage. So some athletes will be racing in a Nike shoe, even though they're not sponsored by Nike at the Olympics. So there's all these restrictions on like microscopic logo size, how many logos you could have, whether you can have any at all. Only a manufacturer's brand like Asics, Adidas, Brooks, Puma,
right.
Nike. And so it limited you down to about 8 to 12 sponsors. So there's only going to be so much negotiation, and leverage because, there's collusion between Nike and Adidas and they both say, well, we'll keep our offer low as long as you keep your offer low. Then the athletes are always getting paid minimal. So coming out of amateurism didn't actually work for the best. And sort of why I mentioned what's popping up in NCAA.
Right.
So my petition was for, NASCAR style being here in Mooresville, Race City, USA right now, North Carolina, where you see NASCAR racers have McDonald's, cell phone companies, multiple sponsors for the uniform, which pays for training, heightens the ability of the athlete to have the freedom to not have the stress and do other things. We didn't have that. And so I was like, you know what, if I can't get this, I got the petition through. I had thousands of signatures from athletes from every country. So they said, all right, you got to take it to the IAAF because they're in charge of international track and field. And they're based in Monaco. They don't really have their taxes looked into because they're in this sort of,
right.
In this situation. And so like I give them the petition, they just don't look at it.
Right.
Like, we've got thousands of, so it's done that way so that they sort of control the sponsorship rights and make the lion's share of the wealth.
Sure.
So I created a brand. I said, you know what, I'll become a manufacturer. And so that's what I did. And it's been 11 years. I started it in a basement in Knoxville in around 2009. And with a $500 screen printing machine that we had in there, designed everything, hand cut and sew everything. And now people custom order custom fitting racing singlets to run marathon stuff from us. So people were initially like, how are you going to compete with $1 billion brand?
Right.
And everyone expects this instantaneous millionaire type way of doing things where it's mass consumption, send everything to get made in China, bring it back here. And we're starting to see what's happening in terms of, friction in the world economics because of that method going on for so long. So we don't want to be this mass produced brand. So we made bespoke, made to order stuff in Knoxville, and now we do it in North Carolina.
Awesome.
So it was a way to open the door where I don't compete with a $1 billion company. I compete with the salary that they would pay me and then have immense freedom to do whatever I want to do at any given moment. I'm not under contract.
Yeah. Awesome.
And so after that, we transitioned into coaching, and I've been coaching for about 8 years through, the brand Reckless Running, and 18 state titles, individual titles, I think, in those 8 years already. So it's been awesome.